Yeah, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Grubs back out here once again. It's been a long awaited. You know, things been, as people say, just living life, I guess. But back today with a very interesting topic. Haven't been on for a while doing my thing. I know a lot of people have been asking me. I haven't been recording. I haven't been doing my podcasts and things like that because, like I said, people gotta understand. I mean, the only reason I do this stuff is because the fact that like I try to give people a chance to be able to interact with somebody who actually knows the ins and outs of a lot of things that go on out here. As far as different types of business moves, a lot of the information that people don't want out there, I get. Um, it's just kind of hard. I mean, there's some of the times I get to a point in life where I think people, I even forget that I am a human being, ripping and running, making moves, trying to do so much. And sometimes I forget that I'm just a man myself, father, human being. I ain't no machine. I'm not AI, none of that stuff. So after a while, a collective of things kind of start to fuck with my mental. My productivity still stays because I continue to create, I continue to work no matter what. As you see, quick on site role services we talked about in the past video. Another one of my small businesses, which I do from day to day. A lot of things owner operate deal with me because, like I said, I don't really like to sit at home. I'm not really a couch potato, shit like that. I really like to get up and be out and about. Plus, I like to be interactive with my stuff. I know how companies try to get you where they know you got a bunch of employees out there doing their thing. They can tell you anything, and you kind of got to ride with it because they know that you sitting back at the home base. So I like to be interactive. But since my last video, like I said, a lot's done change, due to these virtual backgrounds. People can already tell, can't always tell where you are, but I done relocated back home now, back in the city of Philly again, back where I came from. And I mean, like a lot of times I don't really talk about Philly as much in my videos because I mean we get a bad light. And I always told myself for years I was one of the different ones from here. Um, so I try to keep, my fully talk to a minimum, but a lot of people can tell by my attitude is still there. Of course, a lot of people say about an accent too. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand about this city, um, coming up here, um, my life wasn't really basic. Um, I mean, some of the times, like I tell people, it's like you got a certain set of people out here that, you know, you listen to this music these days. Even back then, I used to tell people, man, it's everything in music is based off the street. So it's like I remember years ago where I used to like the cheesy shit, all that street shit, that's my shit. Yeah, 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 yeah. But then as I started to get older and I kind of started to detach from it, certain parts of me left away. And coming back home, most people expect, the hustler, because that's what you've been for 20 years. So that's all people know. And as you transition on in life, you make better decisions, you do other things. And for me, I was able to obtain or maintain the same life as being out in the streets, but I did it with my mind, a little bit of work with my body. And to me, it made me an overall happier person. Um, when I first made the transition to say, I'm done. Let's go to work. Let's punch the clock. Oh, to me, and this is only my opinion, I felt like I dealt with an overwhelming amount of backlash. And that's when I really noticed that, the city, I'm not going to say the whole city, but a lot of people in the city are evil. They feed off of negativity, they feed off of hate, they feed off the wrong things. I'm like a car, I feed off of gasoline. That's it. Ain't no other type of chemical you can put in a tank that's gonna make me run. But people fuel off of envy, hate, jealousy, and it's like that's always what I felt here. So when I left here and went down south, I mean, I kind of wanted to be myself. I mean, be by myself. I'm sorry, but I wanted to be by myself for a while. I wanted to see how it was detaching from hood politics and bad things in the streets. It was just a mixture of things. I just wanted to get up in the morning and focus on nothing. Going to work, paying bills, raising kids, basic shit. But when I was here, that's not what I could do. It's like I was worried about a lot of the wrong stuff. Uh, I don't like to be one of them people who just be like, oh, product of my environment. I mean, people can use that term product of their environment, but this is one of them times where I'm a debunk that theory of product of my environment. As far as my environment, I came up in a pretty good environment, you know, both parents, private schools, spoiled rotten, list goes on and on. So at the end of the day, please tell me what am I bringing in my environment caused me to end up out in the streets. Well, that question I asked you, when you become a man early, like I did, you want, you want things that grown-ups want. You want nice cars, BMWs, Mercedes, and things like that. You don't really have a choice of what age you start to desire grown-up things. There's just like a person don't know what age they desire sex. It's just a feeling or something that goes off. It's the same way. Um, for me personally, I was always one of the hustlers. Like I liked the whole Rick Ross thing. Appear to the eye like you fucked up, but you really good. Because if a nigga see you and be like, damn, this dusty ass nigga, they be lying. He ain't got no money. Hey, nigga, you just saved yourself from getting robbed like 3 times. Cause niggas just look. They don't think. They just look. So that whole little persona gave a nice little skate. But as your name grow, clientele grow, people start to know things. I'll give you an example because uh, people in the streets be like, oh man, niggas don't know your business unless you tell them. That's not true. I'm gonna show you how easy it is for a nigga to get into your business and know key things about you. So I'm allegedly I'm a drug dealer. So when you re up, you have to go to someone to re up. You're not going straight to the cartel. You're not going straight to the plug. So let's stop you going to a person. Now, some of the times, people that go and laugh at this, but your plug might be out of town, could be in some legal trouble, or just simply don't have no work right now. So then you got to venture out to other people. Now, when you have a sophisticated phone, like some people had, from what I heard, those phones require a certain amount of work. So, like, say for instance, I knew a guy that used to say things like, "Oh no, I will give you my phone, but you ain't got enough work." So in the beginning, I used to laugh. I'd be like, these niggas funny as shit with this bullshit. Y'all niggas ain't moving. So I got to a time where, I let someone borrow my phone and I seen the results of it. The phone rings 40, 50 times a day. That's a lot of work. 40, 50 calls, depending on if it could be a big call, small call, five, 10, 20, $100. Could be sometimes 350. So for a person who just get in the game or not as much of a big fish, no, you can't take no big fish phone because allegedly I heard, you know, phones was running anywhere from about 3 pounds or more a day. See, I'm a stick on three. That's always was the least. That's a rainy day. But you got 3 to 5. So you think the average man just sitting around with all this work in their house? No, that's somebody who's been moving for a while and know how to control the market and control the flow. That's who gonna be sitting around with that type of work. So for that reason, that's why I used to tell people say the phrase like, "Oh, nigga, you ain't got enough work to take my phone." It's not an insult; it's the truth. Because if you run out of work, but you gonna keep calling that person for them to keep taking that risk to run into you with this illegal stuff when they can simply just do it themselves and only take the risk once instead of twice. So some of the times people gotta look at that. But product back to product of environment is like coming up, you grow up in the streets. So you see the guys with the nice cars, nice clothes, and all that shit. And you know they ain't got no job because they out there riding around all day. And after a while, you kind of get yourself to a point where you like, man, I want that shit. I was that person. The way that I ended up out there was I wanted the life that I always was used to living. Growing up, spoiled, getting shit all the time. You kind of want that. New sneaks sometimes twice a week, clothes every other day. Like the shit was crazy. So as a grown man, you start to see other cats still looking and dressing like they did when we was kids. So you kind of naturally want to do the same. And then the type area we came from is a dress up area. So every nigga get Dougie. It's kind of like a thing. So once you start looking all regular now and you coming around with the 2 for 40s and the nut ass $30 joints, niggas gonna start to know like, damn, you ain't that nigga from back in the day no more. So I guess that's where they say, I won't say product of my environment. I would say a product of what I was used to because I wasn't chasing to be cool in the streets. I was chasing to be me. Like I wanted that low shit. I wanted them Jordans. I wanted to wear the Timbs, 3, 4 pair of Timbs. Like I wanted like 70, 80 pair of sneaks at all times back then. That's what my mind was. Um, I didn't really care about the outside world. Me and my homeboys used to argue. I ain't running around and act like I had all this money so I can fuck more bitches. Actually, I used to tell bitches I had a 9 to 5. I work at Walmart, overnight stock. That's why they pay me so much. See what I'm saying? Or my other cap, if a bitch found out, like, damn, you got a little bit more money for a Walmart job. That's when I started coming out with the, oh, I work 1099 because niggas ain't know what it was back then. Cats knew they just had jobs. 1099, what's that? That sound crazy. Yeah, independent contractor. That's when you work for yourself. I don't work for nobody. I work in partnership with people. When you work in partnership, you get paid more than a regular employee. And they used to take that. It made sense. But that was my main goal of what it was. So I would never say peer pressure. Me and specifically, I was never a follower. I never got arrested following nobody. I never got in trouble following nobody. Either it was a situation that my stupid ass came up with, and it was always a nigga that was either a little bit slower or got caught up. But I never personally got caught. My plans always worked out. Somebody else always got me caught. But I was always the leader. And I mean, not saying like everybody follow me, no, because the thing that people gotta realize, looking at my own kids, they detach themselves from their siblings and go do their own thing and be in a corner acting like they having a whole get down by themselves. That's how I was. I was comfortable leading my own situation. after so many years, people liked it the way I led my situation. So then they gave me the ability to let me lead them. Plus, sometimes, like I tell people, I earned the ability too because coming up in the streets, I want a nigga on the block talking about, oh, I'm about to go dig this bitch out. I'm on a nigga on the block talking about, man, y'all niggas don't know about stocks. Y'all ain't been seeing that stock market shit. That shit look crazy. I want to learn that shit. Man, y'all niggas ain't never thought about flipping houses. That was me 20 some years ago. Oh one, 2000. I've been kicking that shit. Like I always was a motivated nigga as far as getting paper. See, the problem that I had, and this is the only thing that people got to realize, and maybe this is the number one problem when people always say peer pressure. I truthfully think now, as a grown man, my biggest problem was some type of validation. I didn't need a certain person's validation. I didn't need a bunch of people validation. It's just a lot of times I guess you get that feel when you want somebody to go with you when you fucking with something. And first thing you think is if if my man go with me, my everybody gonna go. They like it, they gonna like it. Then it get to a point to where it's like, okay, damn, you keep getting people like, that sound all right, but I wouldn't. Oh, that sound all right, but I wouldn't. Back at that time, I didn't know the terms. What people don't know, they reject. I didn't have the slightest idea about stuff like that. I used to naturally just be in myself, like, maybe I am, moving a little fast. But never not one time did I ever think the correct moment and just say, no, motherfucker, you just ahead of your time. You know what I'm saying? Right now, even sitting and being outside, I enjoyed that part of my life, but at the end of the day, it wasn't more enjoyable than afterwards. That's the reason why I always tell people, I preach the business route because I'm not gonna say I seen as much, but my life didn't change. When I was in the streets, I didn't have a BMW. I got one after I got out the streets. When I was in the streets, I didn't have a Mercedes. I got one after. When I was in the streets, I ain't had a whole, one, two, three vehicles out front, one vehicle in front of my man crib, one sitting on the corner, one sitting farther up the block. Like, I mean, all this stuff, mid box trucks, like big company shit, storages, and one in Jersey, one in Philly. Like, dog, I obtained everything doing my own thing because it was a time where I told myself that everything has a life expectancy, even the business I just referred to. I no longer do that business. Everything that's profitable for the most part has a life expectancy, not unless you're that golden goose. And the reason why I say that golden goose because I still think that I am. That's the reason why I'm able to touch these other businesses and turn them into gold. I started this business in 2020. I never in my life thought about it. My homeboy told me to start one back when I had a bunch of bread, and I told him when he told me the numbers, I'm sitting here telling him like, bro, you running around opening people doors talking about you bringing home 1,200. Nigga, I'm bringing home 17,000. So I'm gonna stick to what I'm doing. When I should have said, damn, bro, you smart enough to open that shit up on the side and hire people to run it. Same way you do the business you do now, how you was able to sit at home, put guys in trucks and be able to still maintain a business. It was the same scenario. Actually, that would have probably been an easier business, and I probably would have never left PA because I would have had two running businesses and I would have been cool. Because when I left PA, my preservation business was still doing great. My last check leaving the city was 17 grand, like clockwork. Shit, I'd have had a couple of weeks that was like 36,000. So I mean, I knew how it was. So these are the reasons why I didn't care about going back outside. Yeah, I made good money outside, but I ain't had to ride around with my stomach hurting. I ain't got no cops tearing my car apart. I ain't got motherfuckers watching me. Like it's a whole different feel when you make it the right way, as I say. I can't be the judge. Everybody make it how they want to. But when I make it that way, it feels so much more better. The people are so genuine to you. Like they really treat you like you went through what they went through. I remember it was a time when my neighbors used to look at me like shit. They wouldn't speak to me half days. I have a cookout, offer them niggas food, liquor. They be like, "No, we good, we good." When I got a job, then it was different. Oh yeah. We'll take a plate. Yeah, let me get a drink. Yeah, you'll take the shit I work for, but they want to take that money from outside. I never understood it. But even the conversations with people change. Hey man, how work going? That feel weird for somebody to ask me that. Should they watch me for the last damn near how many other years they got up and went to work every day, came home, they watched me out on the block 24/7. Still had nice shit. They knew what it was, but at the end of the day, I was civil. But well, if I had to lead down to it, I would kind of say it would be keeping up with my life. I mean, I guess some people want to keep up with everybody else. I just want to keep up with me. I like my little fly clothes. I like my shoes and shit like that. I love cars, cheap cars, expensive cars. I love them all. So I mean, I got my things that I like, but it's never gonna be the same as most people because I always strive to be different. Because to me, different, I was just being myself. It just ended up being unique. And then as life progressed on, I started to see that I did a lot of things unique. So it was like, okay, maybe that's just me. So for those reasons, I can't say I ever felt a product of my environment. I don't really ever remember falling for peer pressure. Never was peer pressure. If a motherfucker tell me, yo, you don't do this, man, I ain't fucking with you. All right, nigga, I ain't fucking with you then. Fuck out of here. You only one nigga, pussy. I got other homeboys. You ain't the only nigga around here, nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. Ain't nobody gonna make me do shit but me. So anything I ever done, that shit was on my own free will. So I don't know nothing about that. I was never controlled. My parents couldn't control me, so how could somebody outside control me? So I mean, just remember that part where people forget that you gonna go outside and become a fucking weirdo and a chump, let niggas control what you do, but you only listen to your own folks. I listen to my folks before I listen to a nigga outside. Show where these niggas respect me at. Crash dummies. But these terms are stuff that I seen back then. And I always felt that way, like, yeah, this nigga gonna crash out. Yeah, he gonna crash. They gonna crash because you can see it from a mile away. They carry that persona with them. You know, it's just a lot. But just look at these alternative stories that I just shared with y'all. I mean, it's a lot more, but I'm gonna leave it at them. But just think about the stories I just shared with you, how these situations are manifested, or the alternative thinking of thinking that people are just being followers or peer pressure and stuff like that. Because this day and age, everybody got a theory to where they feel like they want to be known. And I remember if you go back to my earlier videos 15 years ago, I always kept saying, I don't want to be famous. I just want the money. I don't give a fuck if nobody know who I am. As long as that check come with my government on it and I can take it and cash it, that's the only thing I ever cared about. Never cared about none of that shit. Oh man, nah, whatever. Nah, as long as my money straight, you ain't got to never know who I am. All you gonna know is that nigga always riding some shit. That nigga always fresh to death. You ain't gotta know what I do for a living. I tell people, even with this podcast stuff that I do, that being in the streets kind of had me afraid to even do the podcasting thing because where my life is, you don't want to be seen on camera. You when you get seen on camera, niggas looking at you on camera like, oh, okay, that nigga got on that Celine this, Celine that. All right, so that nigga got about $3,000 lay on. Okay. See what he getting into because the average man ain't walking around with a $3,000 lay. So that's why I used to always tell niggas at parties, I'm gonna come have a drink, buy a couple drinks for whoever party it is, and I'm out. Because I'm not sticking around long enough to be in no bunch of photos or even some of the times I dress goofy on purpose. Because I don't want nobody seeing no oh man, I seen them niggas, oh bring the picture up. I heard that nigga doing. Then they see the pictures and be like, oh nah, that nigga ain't got that shit. They capping for him. And that's how I carry, you know. Let niggas think everything was what it was. Like I tell niggas, I was always a brilliant man at playing possum. And the thing is, I'm gonna tell y'all one more thing before I go. It's a mental thing that I built within myself. See, for me, I got to a point in life to where I obtained everything that I wanted. I didn't really have anything else that I wanted. I kind of just bought frivolous shit just because I was in the nature of spending money and doing shit. But I was actually content. So about 2008, I told myself that I'm gonna create this persona. And me creating that persona is what I was gonna stick to. And that's why it's funny when a nigga gonna come to me in present day and say, oh, you truthfully only know 30% of what a nigga doing. That's correct. And you only supposed to because why? In our reality, if I make you're gonna make 100% of an income. If you only can survive off 30%, you're a bad motherfucker. You didn't figure out life. And you know how to maintain very well. Being able to save 70% of your income is unheard of, man. But that right there is the golden ticket. You make 100%, you spend no more than 30 of it. And that's how you get ahead. That's how you become the elite. Once you get a life set up where you can do that, that's where you're good. Some of the times I don't want people to feel like little money is little money because even if you get $1,000 check and you can live off 30% of it, that's only $300. So if you can figure out how to live off of $1,200 a month, think about it. You get to tuck seven per month, seven per week. That's 2,800 a month that you tucking. Then at 30K a year. Just all living on 1,200 a month. I mean, people I understand, don't get me wrong, I don't know where these videos get seen at, but I know for a fact you can't live in places like New York and California for no $1,200, not unless you're gonna live in the shelter or the streets. But it's a dream. For those type people, they have to make a little more than 1,000. 1,000 was only for example. But I program my brain to maintain off of minimum. People around me, you probably always used to wonder. That's why people never really thought I had a lot because I didn't spend a lot. I buy a couple pair of shoes here. That's normal. Everybody buys shoes. You might see me with a new outfit, something like that. I didn't ever care about cars. As long as it ran and got me where I had to get to, I was fine. That car shit, I really didn't get. I'm not even really too enthused into it now. I have my times, but I'm more like a guy where I got some nice shit in the garage and I just drive this regular everyday shit every day. And that nice shit I drive when I feel like getting dressed and pulling out a nice car. My kids want to go do something nice or something like that, or I'm an extra nigga. I might pull out the Bentley to go to the market on Sunday. Then next Sunday I'll drive something else, and that's how the high end cars will get driven with me to the supermarket. We go on a little trip out of town trip. Of course I'll drive them. That's what them bitches is so expensive for. But outside of that, I'm not really that type of person. Like I remember I told somebody a joke where I told him like I'll be the type guy that have a house in the hood and a mansion out in the sticks. And he asked me why, and I tried to tell him no matter how older I get, no matter how much knowledge I obtain, no matter how much more wealth I obtain, my mind is still kind of somewhat, like not somewhat, but it's imprinted out there. So for me, I would like to live both if that was possible. Due to me having children, I can't live both because, of course, I want my kids to live in the best area that I can get them in. I don't expect them to, go back and live in hoods for 6 or 7 months just to suit daddy, you know, eager. I say it keeps quench the thirst to keep me away. Because a lot of way that things go now, I could probably come back out here and be in the fence. It's like, because the way it is now, I can come kill. The way the game is, it's so transparent. It's just crazy. So sometimes I do think about stuff like that all the time. But I mean, that's always one of my theories. I always tell people, like, yeah, I would do both because I do like the urban setting. Don't get me wrong, the corner stores, the people arguing, the barbecue smell all summer. But I do like that peaceful. You only see a neighbor once in a while. They barely even know who you are, just a name on a mailbox. My whole house is peaceful, backyard peaceful. I'm the only noise. Like I do love that living. I never experienced it till now over the last few years, and I fell in love with it. My own space, my own property. The only person came on my property was the mail person and Amazon. Ain't nobody walk on my property, ain't nobody drive on my property because they had no reason to. I lived off the road. So, I mean, I definitely think that shit did something for my mental too, being in that type of environment because I was able to control my own tempo. When you live in a city, you can control your tempo and your surroundings, which is your personal space. Once you get in a car with somebody, you can control it to a certain extent, but your tempos kind of have to work together. When you step outside with people, your tempos kind of have to convert. So for me, that's why most people see me I'm by myself. Not by myself, but by myself. So I mean that's my choice because that's how I grind. People used to call me crazy, so what? I mean, I got a firm belief I'm gonna take y'all out with it. I'm not really a spiritual person, but it's a theory I used to tell myself the whole time I was in the streets. And this is what kept me, I guess, sane and not looking over my shoulder. I used to tell myself that everybody life, like God has a library with a bunch of books. These books are our lives. Our lives are already written. The things that you obtain, the things you learn, the bad things that happen. I feel like all this stuff is already written out in God's plans. That's why some people have bad situations and they bounce right back. Some people get sick and then they get well. So this is why I believe that theory. And a lot of times in life, I have had a lot of money, lost a lot of money, got it back, lost it again. And it's like at this stage of life is getting different because I get the money back, but then I'm losing more valuable things than money to me now. And that right there is making my mind shift along. Like for me, I lost two, I'm gonna say shit, man, three, about four like key people in my life. Three of them for sure. Like three for fact, fact. See what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say four on the real because, within 2023, I lost both my grandmoms, one of my best friends, and my pop, all in that year. So when your life and your issues elevate to where money can't fix, what can you do? To me, this is a whole new thing that I haven't ever coped with because the world and the society that I've been in, money fixes everything. Having money makes you cool. Having money gets things done. Having money has connections. But having money ain't gonna give me my pop back. My grandmoms and shit like that. Like that's the part that people gotta understand. That's when I really woke up and realized that money is not everything to me. Yeah, I need to have enough of it to pay what I need to pay to survive. But as far as all this money that people think they need is not gonna buy them people back. It's not gonna make your life no easier. It's just gonna get you a couple trips. You might go through some shop therapy, and now you broke again. Now you back in the life that you was in before the person passed. It's just without them. So that's another thing too. I mean, this day and age, I don't know why mental things are hitting my era so hard because people been had mental issues and mental health and shit like that. But for some reason, within my era and a lot of the people over the last 2 years, maybe like 2 to 3 years, even I'm gonna say the next era after mine are getting hit hard with a lot of mental health things. I mean, for me myself, I used to tell people, and see, that's the definition I had to get my brain to understand. I don't have mental issues. I go through new emotions that I never experienced. Like I tell people, I never been depressed because I never been that fucked up to be depressed. Um, I never really lost any loved ones. I lost like one or two close ones throughout the years, but I never had a lot of death around me. Um, so a lot of the things that the common people person stress about, I never had to endure until, you know, the older years. I mean, I thank God that I had the knowledge and the ability to withstand the storms that came along in the later years. But I always think that agree back to my knowledge more than anything. Cause like I said, my brain get me out a lot of shit. Then connections too, but my brain that got me out a lot, not my money. My brain that probably got me out of more than my money has. So, sometimes people need to evaluate that. And then people need to also understand that you know, the day and age that we live in, we have to relearn it. It's not the same. I told myself 15 years ago, the world is changing. Oh no, it's gonna go back to the way it was. Okay. Fast forward on, it's worse. I seen these things. But my thing is I can't leave the world. So I'm stuck here figuring out what it is. That's why I tell most people when I make it big or whenever my kids get of age and they feel like they want to do for themselves, I say I'll probably spend my final days in Europe or Australia somewhere, like somewhere different than United States. I just always wanted to experience, another place, and why not when I'm old? So I mean that's like my whole end goal. But for now, I got kids to raise, so I got probably another 20 something years. In the States, maybe 25 years in the States before I can go anywhere. Got at least let my babies grow up, get out of school, see how their lives gonna determine before I even try to leave the country. So Shit, to be honest, I hope they say they want to go with me. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's just that's just another way that I perceive life as being, and that's how my life works. As a lot of people tell me in my inbox, it's a lot of cats that feel how I feel. They go through the same things I go through, and I mean they give me the props because I actually able to talk about it. Because like I said, I'm not a on camera talking person. You don't know how much practicing I had to do before I got back in front of this camera. I mean, like I tell some people got different reasons, but for me, like I said, being on the camera is not really, was ever my thing. I did it because, back then I was trying to promote what I had going on. So once time progressed on and I ended up with stuff that I did not have to promote now, it kind of, worked out well because now I didn't have to sit in front of the camera. I learned a different way, which was gaining traffic and I mean gaining visitors and stuff like that. So once I had the traffic, I really didn't need to do the videos for promotion anymore. I knew how to do SEO and all that stuff when it first came about. So that became my go-to before I sat there and made a video. But I do see now, being though it's that like these type nights and shit where, I can sit down and talk to my people and let y'all see what I go through because like I said, I don't try to hide anything. I tell a person if I'm going through something, you ask me, I'm gonna tell you. I ain't looking for no sympathy. Sometimes I ain't even looking for no opinions. I just don't want you sitting around me and I'm looking all balled up in the face and you like, damn, what's wrong with this name? Why I ain't saying nothing? And so for that reason, I try to always make sure that, I keep it real with my folks that's around me because your energy comes off and they kind of sort of got to live what you go through. Also, you got to determine which folks to tell because niggas do talk so fucking much. But at the end of the day, it's more like you know, you got to definitely take the good for the bad. And it is what it is. But definitely feel good to be back out here again. I'll get back more on a day to day consistent basis because there's a lot of things going on in the world. I had got a nice topic I'm gonna talk about tomorrow because I've been me and my man was sitting here watching basketball and some things came up that we was talking about that we both didn't like that was going on in the world of basketball and why I simply stopped watching basketball for this specific reason that we was talking about. So we definitely I'm gonna chime in on that topic personally myself because it's a big one and a lot of people around the world definitely want to hear about it. The NBA is really getting out of hand with this stuff. But as always, man, thanks for tuning in with your boy GRUBBS. If not me, who else? They sure don't want to talk about these other jokers, but definitely look out for what's coming next. Also, season 2 of Chronic Cinema. Um, the greatest weed smoking, movie joking podcast you'll ever see out here. But seriously, I mean, that's definitely something I hope y'all guys check out for me. Like, share, subscribe. Of course, for me, like, share, subscribe for them too. Make sure you hit the notification bell on both channels so you can get them updates when our videos come in for sure. But I mean, I'm in for the long haul, man. Like I said, back at home, city of Philly. That's where the energy came from. This is where the original hunger came from for me to even get where I'm at to do what I do. So definitely got some new tricks on my sleeve. Got some new things built. I maybe will get some old things settled in while I'm home too. So I mean, just look forward to me. I mean, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets. And so always, I see y'all guys next time.